The story begins with a young college student named Ava, returning home to her coastal hometown of Rockport, California. She's back to attend her high school friend's engagement party, which also happens to be a mini reunion. The next day, Ava reunites with her best friend Danica, who's about to get engaged to her high school sweetheart, Teddy. It's been years since they last met, and Ava can hardly recognize Teddy, who's now bulked up and comes from one of the wealthiest families in town. Among the guests is also Milo, Ava's ex-boyfriend from high school, who's traveled all the way back just to be part of the celebration. As night falls, the group gathers to share stories about their lives after high school. The evening coincides with the annual Shortport City celebration, and Milo suggests one last late-night trip to the beach to watch the fireworks together. On their way there, they run into another old classmate named Stevie. Unlike the others who have lived comfortably thanks to family support, Stevie's life took a hard turn. Her father's debts forced her to drop out of college, and she's been working random jobs just to get by. Feeling sympathetic, they invite her to join them. They drive to their old hangout spot, the same place they used to skip school years ago. While hanging out, Milo pulls out a joint. Teddy, trying it for the first time, starts acting reckless. Laughing and stumbling into the middle of the road, he almost gets hit by a speeding car. Milo manages to pull him out of the way just in time, furious at his careless behavior. But before anyone can catch their breath, another car comes speeding down the road. The driver swerves sharply to avoid hitting Teddy and loses control. The car spins out and slides dangerously close to the cliff's edge. The group rushes over to help, but the doors are jammed. Inside, the driver is still alive, trapped and panicking. They try to pull him out, but before they can, the car tips over and plunges into the ravine. Shocked and terrified, the group argues over what to do next. Ava insists they go down and help the driver, but the others panic. Teddy, afraid of being blamed, quickly calls for an ambulance, pretending to report an accident, and tells the others they'll go to the police to explain everything. But instead of heading to the station, Teddy drives them back to his house. He convinces everyone to keep the incident a secret. Milo and Danica reluctantly agree, thinking it's the safest option. Stevie, who can't afford to get involved in legal trouble, stays quiet and goes along with it. Ava, disgusted and heartbroken by their decision, walks out. A year later, Ava lands at the airport and meets a new acquaintance named Tyler. She is back in town for Danica's engagement, and Milo is giving her a ride. Since Tyler is headed to Shortport as well, they bring her along. On the drive, Tyler explains that she hosts a true crime podcast focused on urban legends and infamous crime scenes. Her latest episode covers Benjamin Willis, known as the Fisherman, a legend born in Shortport. She is in town to tour the old sites tied to those killings. Ava and Milo arrive at Danica's place, where Stevie greets them warmly. In the years since the accident, Danica and Stevie have grown inseparable. Danica has also ended things with Teddy and is now engaged to someone new. Gift time begins, and the room fills with laughter and sentimental presents. Danica smiles as she opens box after box. Then she reaches a thin envelope that looks like it should hold a check. Inside is a single note that reads, "I know what you did last summer." At first, she thinks it is a prank, but no one admits to it. Uneasy, she pulls Ava, Milo, and Stevie aside. The laughter fades to silence. "This is I know what you did last summer." They piece together what little they know. Only a handful of people could have known about last year. Danica suspects Teddy, bitter over the breakup, might be trying to scare her. Danica returns to keep the party moving, while Ava, Milo, and Stevie head out to confront Teddy and settle it. They find him a mess, drunk and aimless, living off his parents. He is as shocked by the note as they are and offers no help, only resentment, and soon throws them out. Night falls. Back at Danica's house, she steps into the shower while her fiancé tidies up the remains of the party. Outside, the pool lights flick on by themselves. Footsteps approach across the patio. From the darkness, a figure in black boots and a black hat emerges, silent and deliberate. The stranger closes in. A gleaming hook comes up in the right hand, heavy and curved like a fishing gaff. The attack is swift.
No.
Danica's fiancé collapses, bleeding out on the floor. Unaware, Danica finishes her shower and heads downstairs to find him. She freezes at the sight. Her fiancé lies dead, and a message is smeared across the wall. You cannot erase the past. The next morning, Danica and her friends gather to discuss the strange message, the accident from last year and the death of her fiancé. At first, they wonder if it was all just an unfortunate coincidence. But the words on the wall, "You can't erase the past," change everything. Milo realizes that this isn't random at all. The death was only a warning. Whoever sent that message is after all 5 of them. That's when Milo remembers Tyler, the crime podcaster they met earlier. Danica immediately looks her up online and finds Tyler's latest episode. It's about the fisherman, the urban legend that once haunted Shortport 25 years ago. Back then, the town was shaken by a series of brutal murders. The killer wore a black coat, carried a steel hook, and always sent anonymous messages before striking. Realizing the similarities, Ava decides to track down Tyler for answers. Coincidentally, Tyler is touring one of the old murder sites that very day, a seaside restaurant once tied to the fisherman's crimes. Inside the old building, Tyler explains the story of a girl named Julie who, decades ago, received the same kind of anonymous message. She and her boyfriend barely survived the fisherman's rampage, and both are rumored to still be alive. Tyler plans to interview her after finishing her research here. She even invites Ava to join her later at Hoffman University, where Julie now teaches. But as Tyler steps upstairs to take photos, something moves in the shadows below. The figure matches the description perfectly: a black coat, dark boots, and the glint of a metal hook. It's him. The fisherman is back. Tyler tries to escape while Ava runs for cover in the narrow kitchen. The chase is tense and fast. In desperation, Ava grabs a knife and manages to wound the killer. But before she can escape, a heavy metal cage crashes down, trapping her inside. The fisherman turns his attention to Tyler, waiting for her on the upper floor. As she reaches the storage room, he strikes with the hook, slashing her and choking the life out of her. Outside, Stevie arrives just in time, following the distress message Ava had sent earlier. She frantically unscrews the bolts of the cage one by one, freeing Ava just as Tyler's body falls lifeless from above. With Tyler gone, Ava and Stevie go to Hoffman University in search of Julie. They find her there, now a professor. After hearing their story, Julie understands immediately. The fear they're facing mirrors her own past. But before she can help, she asks, what exactly did they do that started all of this? Julie explains that everything happening now is tied to their dark past. The fisherman, she believes, isn't some supernatural killer, but someone close to the man who died in the accident. Whoever it is, they're using the fisherman legend to confuse the police and cover their tracks. As panic spreads through Shortport, the police hold a town meeting led by Teddy's father, one of the wealthiest men in the community. He urges everyone to stay calm and to keep the news quiet. If the old legend resurfaces, it could scare off tourists and destroy the town's reputation. A man named Ray stands up to speak. He claims he survived the fisherman's attacks 25 years ago and warns that if the police don't act soon, more lives will be lost. But his warnings are dismissed as exaggeration. After the meeting, Stevie takes her friends to the bar where she works. Her boss turns out to be Ray himself. Learning about his past, she asks for his help in finding the person behind the murders. What no one expects is that Ray was once married to Julie, the same woman who survived the original fisherman killings. Meanwhile, Ava begins her own investigation. She discovers that the victim from last year's crash was named Sam Cooper, a lonely man with almost no record online. Ray suggests they track down the owner of the car Sam was driving, believing it could lead them to the killer. Ava, Milo, and Stevie visit the largest junkyard in town to find out. After checking the records, they learn the car was registered to someone named Judah, a well-known pastor in Shortport. At the same time, Danica and Teddy visit Sam Cooper's grave. If the killer knew Sam personally, they figure he might still be visiting his resting place. Their guess is right. Fresh flowers are lying on the headstone. They ask the cemetery caretaker to check the nearby security camera mounted on a tree. He agrees and goes inside to review the footage. But moments later, he's attacked and killed by someone unseen. After waiting nearly an hour with no update, Teddy decides to go check inside. Danica stays behind, unaware that the fisherman has already entered the cemetery. Suddenly, he appears, covered in blood. Danica runs into the theater building and hides under the stage. The killer follows her in, but just as he's about to strike, Teddy rushes in and fights him off. They escape and regroup at Danica's house. Later that night, Stevie leaves early to close the bar. Milo steps outside to grab his charger from the car, but the front door jams shut. Before he realizes what's happening, the fisherman ambushes him from behind and strangles him with a rope. The killer loads Milo's body into his car and drives off into the dark. Ava sees the car leaving and quickly sends Milo a message to check if he's okay, not realizing the reply she receives isn't from him, but from the killer who now has his phone. The next morning, after Danica begins to recover, she and Ava head to the church to meet Pastor Judah. When they arrive, they learn he's away on an errand. Pretending to ask for the restroom, Danica quietly sneaks into his office and starts searching through his desk for anything that could connect him to Sam Cooper. After a few moments of digging, she finds a photo of Judah with a teenage boy, and written under it is Sam's name. Before she can process it, Judah unexpectedly returns, his behavior suspicious. Fortunately, Danica and Ava manage to slip out before he catches them. They rush to the police station to report what they found, convinced that Judah might be the fisherman, but instead of being thanked for helping, the officers accuse them of filing a false report and lock them up for 12 hours. That night, at Teddy's family warehouse, he begins locking up for the evening, unaware that his father has stored a statue resembling the fisherman inside. As Teddy turns to leave, the real fisherman appears and stabs him from behind. Teddy fights back and manages to escape. But instead of finishing the job or making sure the killer is dead, he runs home to get help. As he nears the house, the fisherman regains consciousness and drags him back into the dark. Hearing his son's screams, Teddy's father rushes outside, only to find Teddy bleeding out on the ground. Before he can help, the fisherman returns and kills him too. Meanwhile, Danica and Ava are released from custody and head home, only to see flashing lights and a crowd gathering at the docks. The police have discovered 2 bodies hanging at the gate. It's Teddy and his father. The horror leaves everyone frozen, and before anyone can react, Ray urges Danica and Ava to board his boat and leave the city immediately. As they prepare to depart, they spot another grim sight near the pier. Milo's car has been found, and inside it lies his lifeless body. That same day, the police head to the church to arrest Pastor Judah, convinced he is the fisherman. When they arrive, their theory falls apart. Judah is already dead, and the scene is gruesome. Only Ava, Danica, and Stevie remain. They board a boat to get out of town. Moments later, the anchor drops on its own and the boat slows. Sensing an intruder, Danica goes to check and finds the fisherman standing right in front of her. The mask comes off. It is Stevie, the friend who has stayed by Danica's side for the past year. Stevie finally tells the truth. After her family lost everything and her father left, she had no one. Then she met Sam Cooper, who became the closest person in her life. He died after the accident last year. That night, Sam had borrowed Judah's car to pick Stevie up, while Ava and the others watched fireworks. At first, Stevie did not know the victim was Sam. When the police confirmed his identity, she began planning her revenge. She explains why Judah and Teddy's father became targets. After the crash, Teddy begged his father to cover up the case and make it look like a single car accident. Using his influence and money, Teddy's father buried the truth. Pastor Judah took hush money as well. The confrontation explodes. Stevie and Danica fight, and the struggle turns desperate.
Which one?
Ray arrives soon after, worried for their safety. He is devastated to learn Stevie is behind the murders, a girl he treated like family. He urges her to stop and let Danica go. Revenge will not heal anything, he says, and he promises to keep the police out of it if she walks away. Stevie refuses. She kills Danica, and Ray is forced to shoot. Stevie falls into the sea. Danica's fate is uncertain as she vanishes beneath the water. With the chaos finally quiet, Ava calls Julie to explain that Stevie was the mastermind. She asks Julie to meet her at Ray's bar and take her away from the docks. Ava now waits at a small bar near the dock, sitting quietly beside Ray, who has stayed by her side through everything. He still can't believe Stevie was capable of something so brutal toward her own friends. While waiting for Julie to arrive, Ray offers to get Ava a clean set of clothes. As he removes his jacket, Ava notices a familiar tear on his sleeve, the same one she saw on the night she and Tyler were attacked by the fisherman. In that moment, the truth hits her. The real monster of Shortport is Ray himself. After Stevie's tragic fate, he used the legend of the fisherman to stage a series of killings across the town, using Stevie as his pawn to carry out his revenge. And when she became a threat to his secret, he killed her too. Ava's heart races as Ray turns toward her. The two struggle violently as Ava tries to escape through the window, but he blocks her every move. She fights back, desperate and injured, just as Julie bursts through the door. Ray appears again, ready to finish them both for knowing too much. But before he can strike, Ava grabs a bow from the wall and fires an arrow straight into his chest. Ray collapses, dead at last. The scene cuts to the shoreline, where Danica is found alive, badly wounded but breathing. She's rushed to the hospital, and after days of recovery, she and Ava finally get a moment of peace. Before leaving, the two share breakfast by the beach, watching the waves and trying to let go of what they've been through. But their calm doesn't last long. A radio broadcast breaks the silence, announcing that Stevie's body has never been found. Authorities believe she may still be alive, and the nightmare could be far from over. In the final moments, the story shifts to one of Julie's old friends watching the news about the Shortport killings. The door opens, and Julie herself walks in, her expression unreadable. She sits beside her friend and quietly suggests continuing the fisherman's story, this time with her taking the lead. So the moral of the story is, if your reunion involves fireworks, secrets, and a mysterious guy with a hook, maybe just stay home and watch Netflix instead.